This is the new e-2008, which is the electric version for Peugeot's cutest SUV, and I've been driving it for the last week with my family of 3. It competes against other little SUVs like the Kia Niro electric and the BYD Atto 3. It's got the color options that would excite a toddler, but what about everything else? In this video, I'm going to show you whether or not this has the goods to back up these sweet looks. There's only one model available for the e-2008, and that's the GT model, and it's going to cost you $59,990 before any on-roads, which places it right in the middle of its nearest rivals. Let's see what sort of features you get for that price tag. The interior gets most of the big ticket items like the synthetic leather and suede trims, panoramic sunroof, heated front seats, and the driver's side even gets a massage function. But I was surprised that there's only one model, but you can't really add any additional options or extras to customize it. The full specs are in my written review at carsguide.com.au if you want more info though. This is super cute, and I love the vertigo blue paintwork of our test model. But in fact, I like all of the paintwork color options that this model comes with. They're bright and they're happy, and that basically describes the styling of this car for me. This has Peugeot's signature 3-claw LED lights at the rear, but I really like the daytime running lights at the front as well because they kind of resemble fangs. Combined with the black roof and the mirrors and the 18-inch alloys, and we've got ourselves a good-looking SUV. The cabin looks beautiful with the premium-looking trims and the contrasting green stitching. I really like the sharp cutaways in the dash. It really elevates that premium look. But it's the dual 10-inch multimedia system and the 3D digital instrument panel which really gives the wow factor. I quite like it in here. So it looks great, but what about the practicality? Well, let's just say that the front row benefits the most in terms of everything: space, comfort, and features. It's the sort of car that if you're a tall family, this might not be the one for you. When it was just my son and myself in this, I felt perfectly happy cruising around. But as soon as my husband jumped in, I did feel a little bit claustrophobic. And there were a few factors that contributed to this. One is that where the scuff plates are, it's quite high, so you kind of have to really lift your feet to get into it. Another is that the positioning of the cup holders just feels a bit awkward and can get in the way of using the ease shifter. And just mainly the elbow room. I was just knocking elbows with him every single time he was in the car. Individual storage options are good up front for this class, and I really like this hidden storage compartment. I also like the charging options you've got. You've got 2 USB-A ports and a 12-volt port to choose from. The digital screens look good, and I like the 3D effect on the instrument panel. It's pretty cool. But the multimedia system isn't the best. It's just a bit too simple and doesn't feel very intuitive to use. I don't feel like there's lots of information or customizations that you can actually access and change. It's not laggy though, and I like that you have built-in satellite navigation and wide Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The compact steering wheel is cool and I like using it, but for my driving position and my height, 168 centimeters, I can't get it into the position I need it to be without blocking the digital instrument panel. You can make it lower, but then it's annoying to try and move around when you're getting in and out. The seats are really comfortable, but only the driver's side is electric. And curiously, the sunblind for the panoramic sunroof is manual as well. It's not too much of a bother, but can get a little bit annoying when you're in the go and you're trying to close it. I'm in the back seat and space is a little bit tight behind my driving position. In fact, I'm going to dub this seat as only fit for kids because I don't feel that an adult will be very comfortable back here. That's enhanced by the fact that the door apertures are quite narrow because of the bigger wheel arches and the fact that the battery sits underneath these seats. So you kind of feel like you're propped up anyway. But my 6-year-old didn't have a problem, so there's that. Besides netted mat pockets plus 2 USB-A ports, there's no other amenities back here. No fold-down armrests, no cup holders, no directional air vents either, which just kind of adds to that cramped space feeling that I have back here. In the rear, you have ISOFIX child seat mounts on the outboard seats, but you ain't fitting 3 child seats back there. In fact, if you have 2 child seats installed, you're not even fitting a 3rd kid back there. It's so tiny. Front passenger comfort is also encroached upon when you have a 0 to 4 rearward facing child seat installed. For me, it's not too bad, but I wouldn't want to be much taller. The boot is a good size at 434 litres, and I really like the level load space. You have underfloor storage in this for extra cables, but the compromise to getting all of this space is that you only get a tyre puncture repair kit. I did miss having a powered tailgate this week because this is quite an awkward and heavy boot lid to close. This has a fully electric powertrain with a lithium-ion battery that has a 50 kilowatt hour capacity. It produces a maximum power output of 100 kilowatts and 260 newton meters worth of torque, and can do a 0 to 100 kilometer sprint in 9 seconds, so it's not the punchiest EV on the market. The e-2008 has a driving range of up to 328 kilometers and a Type 2 charging port, as well as a CCS enhanced port, which means you can actually hook it up to a fast charger. The bigger battery capacity means that you can also accept those faster charging speeds, which is great. And on a 50 kilowatt fast charger, you go from 0 to 80% in as little as 30 minutes, which is very handy. This doesn't have an official energy consumption rating, but I saw my average flip between 17.3 and 19.5 kilowatt hour, and I did mostly urban travel this week. But I will admit to having quite a bit of range anxiety in this because it felt like I was chewing through the power. I would look at the power gauge and it would just go, boop, kind of like driving an old V8 for me. Besides some range anxiety, this actually drives pretty well. The power is a little bit lackluster, but it still has enough guts that if you do need to tackle the open road or overtake when necessary, it will do it for you. The ride comfort is also quite good. The suspension absorbs the bumps really well. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is that the road noise can creep up a little bit at high speeds. The steering is quite concise, which makes this very fun to drive in the city. But once you hit the open road, it can feel a little bit light-footed when you get hit with winds or you tackle corners. This sits quite low for an SUV at 1,550 millimeters, which can mean that your visibility isn't the best when you pull up next to a bigger SUV at, say, a roundabout or intersection. But other than that, the windows feel nice and wide. This is a really easy car to park, and you're going to love that size when you hit a tight city car space. But the 180-degree view camera system isn't the best quality that it could be. It could be a little bit clearer, but it's still serviceable, and I really like that this has front and rear parking sensors. The e-2008 has a good list of safety features, and I like that the adaptive cruise control has a stop and go function. This hasn't been rated with ANCAP yet, but its fuel-based siblings did achieve a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating in 2019. I was surprised though that this only has 6 airbags, which is a bit low for a family car, but the curtain airbags do cover the back row. The full safety specs are in my written review at carsguide.com.au if you want more info. The e-2008 comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, as well as an 8-year or up to 160,000 kilometre warranty on the battery. You can pre-purchase either a 3 or 5-year servicing plan, which are both cheaper than the pay-as-you-go option. On the 5-year plan, services average just $200, but servicing intervals are every 12 months, and it is normal to see that figure for an EV be at 24 months. The Peugeot e-2008 GT is a stylish looking compact SUV, but emphasis on compact because this will suit just a small family best, or maybe a grandparent who just occasionally ferries the grandkids around. I love how it looks and that it parks well, but the practicality just wasn't there for my family this week. I also feel like the price point's not quite right for the features you get, so this gets a 6.7 out of 10 from me. My son also really liked how it looked, but didn't really gush about it, so he gives it a 7 out of 10. If you're after more details, check out the full review at carsguide.com.au, and I'll see you next week.